Hi, everybody. It's Patty Grimm, and I am so excited to be here today, presenting to you virtually from my home in beautiful, sunny Dallas, just outside of Dallas today. I'm so thrilled to be presenting virtually to the Empowering Women of Industry conference. I presented 2 years ago to one of the first conferences I personally had been to in person, and I think everyone in the office, the first conference we had been to in over 2 years. The conference itself was outstanding with amazing speakers and networking and women working together to help lift all women up so all boats rise. So we all rise to the top and achieve that pay parity, that destination we're trying to get to. I'm going to talk to you today about living with intention and having that being powered by having a personal vision. I'll introduce myself sort of as we go along. I'll tell lots of stories on a number of things, but a huge thank you to Charlie for putting on this amazing event as I start to share my slides. It's amazing to see this kind of energy and power in one room and see all of these women together virtually and calling in from all over the world for this kind of amazing presentation. So I'm Patty Grimm. I am a senior business leader. I have been in the IT and financial services industry for over 25 years, and I've worked with a number of people in the manufacturing, the industries, wastewater treatment facilities, a whole bunch of companies I've worked with, both as a consultant and as an employee. And I consider myself to be a women's advocate. And I hope this doesn't offend anyone, but I also call myself a badass glass kicker. So I'm presenting today virtually from my home north of Dallas, Texas, where we are neighbors with longhorn steers, cows, horses, pigs, chickens, and a few people as well out here with us. Although it's getting really pretty crowded out here with a lot more houses coming out this far north of Texas, halfway between Texas and Oklahoma. So I want you to picture this. I want you to picture it is a cold, damp, rainy, dreary day in a little city outside of Seattle called Redmond, Washington. And there's a woman on the floor. Her computer's sitting there, her phone's sitting by her, and this woman is on the floor, laying in a combination of tears and sweat, trying to get up the energy to go to the job that she loves. She has worked herself to the bone. She's working 70, 80 hours a week. She works every night and every weekend. She's given up on almost all of her social activities. And most importantly, she's giving up on her. She's giving up on the woman that she was, the strong, confident, empowered woman she was. And she'd gone from being a rock star on the executive potential program for one of the biggest IT companies in the world to all of a sudden being at rock bottom, laying on that bathroom floor. She was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, anal gland failure, Hashimoto's. She gained 35 pounds. Her hair was falling out. And she was so confused and so frustrated and burned out. She hadn't burned the candle at both ends. There was no candle left. She was sitting in front of a doctor who started to write her a prescription for more depression and sleeping pills, depression medicine to make her happy, and sleeping pills to help her sleep. When she yelled, "No more pills," to this doctor, and the doctor says, "Patty, I'm not prescribing more pills for you. I'm writing a medical leave of absence. And if you don't take a medical leave of absence or a sabbatical, you'll be dead in 6 months." That woman was me. Now, I got up off that bathroom floor. I took some time off. I invested in myself. I spent time getting myself better again. Several things helped me. My family, my friends, my amazing husband of over 35 years was there side by side with me when I came home in hysterical tears from this doctor's appointment and told him that I couldn't work, that I had to go out on leave, and that we weren't going to have the same money. And I was the sole income earner, or the main income earner. My husband was a high school football coach, but that was part-time and didn't pay very much money, as you can imagine. So here I was, depressed, couldn't sleep, hair falling out, gained 35 pounds, couldn't even make a simple recipe because I would read the recipe 3 or 4 times and somehow I would forget something that was important to the recipe. And worst of all, for a woman, I am a confessed shopaholic. I can shop till I drop. I couldn't even shop because I was so burned out. I made a commitment to myself when I got up off that floor. Several resources helped me. One is the book by Louise Hayes, You Can Heal Your Life. The other was Extreme Self-Care by Cheryl Richardson. But I also took time to invest in myself. And what I realized is I gave up on me. I gave up on my vision, the kind of person I wanted to be. And because of that, I am dedicating my life to empowering women and girls to be the best they can be in any endeavor they choose, and to leave the world a better place for the women today, tomorrow, and forever. We have to leave this world a better place. What I learned was never let anybody tell you what you cannot be. Be you, be real, be authentic, be your favorite kind of woman, and don't let anybody take that job away from you. So, in today's session, I'm going to talk about my research in my book and the 5 ways to be an empowered woman leader, but we're really going to hone in on this living with intention, powered by vision. Because what got me off that floor, what got me back to Microsoft to work for another couple of years at Microsoft before I decided to leave and pursue other career options, was having that personal vision, an anchor, something I could hold on to that said, this is my purpose. This is what I was put on this earth to do. And I will do this and be my best self because everybody else is taken. So our agenda sort of looks like this. We're going to talk about some challenges of the current state of women at work today. There's some new research that just came out. International Women's Day was this week, and I was the keynote speaker for the Cisco Women of Impact Conference, which was amazing. 1,000 women all over the country. And I talked about some of this stuff, some of the current research about what's going on with women and how the latest research says it'll take something between 177 and 200 years for women to achieve pay parity if we stay on the current course. We have to do something different, and that starts with you. I'm going to talk about my 5 ways to be an empowered woman leader, but we're really going to hone on one, the be strong, stand up, stand out formula for that. So I talk about standing up with a personal vision, that you have a foundation, something to stand on. You can buy a fixer-upper house, or you could be a fixer-upper person, and you can add to that house, but the house has to have a strong foundation before you can add on extra rooms or add on a second story. So you have to start with the foundation, which is a vision. And I'm going to have you pick one thing you're going to do as a result of this session today that you're going to put into your life to make you a more impactful, confident, strong, amazing woman leader. This session is for you. This is about being your best self because everyone is taken. It's about unleashing your potential and finding that talent and magic that you have that you can bring to the world and make you an invaluable resource in any organization or in any community or in your family's life. I want you to learn and thrive because when you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. If you're not learning and growing every day in today's environment, you're going to be sitting on the curb wondering what's happening as the parade goes by. This is about investing in you. I do these sessions all over the world, and I always have a similar slide to this one with a key theme of investing in you. If I ask every woman on this call, if I ask every woman that I know, if I ask every woman probably on the planet about how much in time they invest in themselves versus how much time do they invest on everyone else. So imagine you've got one of those scales where you put the little weights on it and it goes up and down. And every time you make an investment in someone else, you put a weight on it and another one and another one. When you invest in your family, your friends, your team, your work, your community, your church, whatever it is. And then I want you to think about and compare how much time do you invest in yourself, making yourself the best in your field, making yourself the best team player, making yourself the best boss, the best cook, the best mom, whatever it is, it's being the best. And I'm going to bet your scale is pretty off kilter, right? This is about empowering you and inspiring you to thrive, about being a difference maker and unleashing access to resources and things that you can think about. So we're going to have some chat boxes activities. So I'm going to ask you to, in the chat box, just take a minute and just write in, what are some of your biggest challenges as a woman today? And go ahead and write those in, and then we'll move forward. Okay, so I'm seeing getting my voice heard. I'm seeing overcoming imposter syndrome. I'm seeing people hearing me when I'm in a room. being present. I'm seeing work-life balance. I'm doing all the work at home, a majority of work at home, and I work a full-time job. That's a real challenge for all of us. I'm seeing being the best team player. I'm seeing all these things on here, having confidence, being assertive, not being seen as bossy, right? So women sometimes are labeled as bossy, or the B word that's goes with itchy, but starts with a B. And you never hear a man called bossy. So we're going to talk about all of that stuff. So as I said, women are still underpaid. We're underserved in healthcare. We're underserved in government. We're underserved when it comes to getting financing if you want to run your own company. We are underpaid. So women now, Caucasian women make about 81 cents on a dollar. African American women make 70 cents. And actually Hispanic women could make as little as 58 cents. Asian women make about 75 cents as well. So we're paid less than men for the same job. That has to change. We can't wait 177 years to get to pay parity. We owe it to our daughters, our sisters, our aunts, our nieces, our coworkers, anybody in our world, right, our children, to leave the world a better place for women and for help women achieve pay parity. There's the bossy bias, as I mentioned, that many times women are labeled as bossy. There's a very, very interesting Pantene hair commercial from the Philippines that I've used a number of times in different sessions. And what's interesting about this commercial, there's no talking, so you don't have to worry about it. But what you see is a man and a woman in different scenes, and then they put up words. So they put up a picture of a man, and it says leader. They put up a picture of the woman, and it says bossy. They put up a picture of the woman getting ready in the morning, and it says arrogant. And they put a picture of a man getting ready in the morning, and it says neat. They have a picture of a man in a meeting, and it says bossy, aggressive. A woman in the bossy and aggressive, the woman, and the man, it shows being a great leader. So the bossy bias exists, and it's interesting to see that. And it really showed up recently in a Harvard business study where they gave a group of current Harvard students 2 case studies. One case study was about Heidi, one was about Howard. All the facts in the case were exactly the same. The only difference was the name. When the students, women and men, were asked to describe Heidi, she was bossy, she was aggressive, she was out for herself, she was not a team player, she took too long to make decisions. When they evaluated the man, he was assertive, he was a leader, he was a strategic thinker, he made great decisions. If you ask most young girls to draw a picture of a leader, 9 out of 10 draw a man. There's the double bind paradox. As men rise up the ranks, they gain credibility and respect. As women rise up the ranks, they lose credibility and they become suspect. How many times have you heard, I wonder how she got that job? Have you ever seen a situation that shows in research men are promoted more often on potential and women are promoted on performance? That creates not only the glass ceiling, that creates what we call broken rungs, the rung on the career ladder. That women have to prove themselves through performance to get from being a team leader to be a supervisor, from a supervisor to a manager, from a manager to a senior manager. We have to prove that based on performance, where many times men are accelerated because they're based on potential, excuse me. The current McKinsey and Lean In study said 1 in 4 women, or 25% of women, are considering leaving the workplace or downsizing their careers. That continues. When they look at the most current surveys that actually came out yesterday from LinkedIn, they're finding that more women are leaving work and going to other places because of lack of work flexibility and being forced to go back in the office full time. Lots of things going on. And then something within our own control is the imposter syndrome and overcoming perfectionism. So let me give you a definition of perfectionism and why it is so damaging. It actually starts when we're little girls with what I call the good girl syndrome. Be the good girl, go to the good school, get the good grades, play nice with others. Little girls are sugar and spice and everything nice. Get a good job, find the good significant other, be a good mom, have a good family. All those little programming as we're little girls turns into imposter syndrome when we grow up. And the definition of a perfectionism that I use that's extremely powerful is perfectionism. And I ask you to think about, does this sound like you at all? And you can put a yes in the chat box. It is someone who has overly high performance expectations, being perfect at work, being the perfect mom, the perfect cook, the perfect house cleaner, the perfect team player, the perfect community leader, the perfect church leader, the perfect. So someone with overly high performance expectations combined with being overly critical, overly self-critical. I'm not good enough. I could have done better. Combined with caring too much about what other people think. So give up on perfectionism. Strive to be excellent in the things you do and the things that you love. But then figure out how to find someone else or delegate it or just figure it out how to do something else. I'll tell you, years ago, my husband, I love to cook, but I'm terrible at cleaning dishes and even loading the dishwasher. My husband tells me I never do it right. So I don't. I do a lot of the cooking. He cooks as well. But he does all the cleaning up of the dishes and the loading and unloading of the dishwasher. I don't do it very well, and I also choose not to get any better. So when I've had that crash and burn laying on my floor, I got myself back up. And I dedicated my life to empowering women and girls to be the best they can be in any endeavor they choose. That is my personal vision, and to leave the world a better place. But I also spent 3 years interviewing 3,259 men and women about what makes a great woman leader. And as I did all these interviews, these themes started to emerge. And I had these Post-it notes and these index cards we used to use in college. And I would hear a quote and I'd write something down. And I'd be watching TV and on Good Morning America, and they'd have something about the confidence problem. A book came out all about confidence gap for women. And I would stop that and I would record it and I'd write things down. And all these Post-it notes and all these things were all over my wall in my office. And as I sat there and got ready to actually write the book after all these interviews, what I found was there were clear themes, and there were 5. So strong, confident, amazing women. Number one, they know they need to be strong and play to their strengths. So be strong and be the best you. So if you haven't already done so, take a Myers-Briggs, a Strength Finder profile, a DISC. You've probably done some of these in college or in your career. At some point in time, you had some team building session where maybe you did a DISC, DISC profile, or maybe you've read one of the Marcus Buckingham books or the Gallup books on Strength Finder. But find what your strengths are and find roles and opportunities that fit that strength. Now, in a practical world, especially if you work in a company like I did, you need at some point in time take a career move because you need the experience and the exposure. So I did that, and I took a career move in a product group launching Windows 7. That was the toughest job I ever had, and I did a good job, but it wasn't my strength, and I could feel it every single day. And as soon as I could, I got back on my track. We're going to focus on the stand up and live with intention with your vision. You're going to write or draft a first copy of your vision today. And then I want you to use it to make every critical career and life decision and ask yourself, am I living my vision? Does this job or this career opportunity or this time in my life, is this the right direction for me to fulfill my vision for myself? So I have a clear purpose of my life. Stand out and be valuable. Whatever your trade, your craft, be the best. Go take courses and certifications, watch YouTube videos, get free training at a community college. Be the best in what you do. So people come to you as the answer person. Be more visible. Stand up and stand out and be more vocal. Now, if you're in a face-to-face meeting, being visible also means if there's a meeting in a room and there's a big table in the middle, take a seat at the table. Research shows if you're sitting at the table, your voice gets heard. And if you're sitting on those seats around the corner, it's very hard to get heard many times. It may take several times for someone to recognize your voice. So and if somebody says, hey, this table's are reserved for manager, this is reserved for the senior directors, say, I'm sorry, I didn't know. But raise your hand, be vocal. If you're going to an all hands meeting, virtually in person, find out what the agenda are, know the company's business and how they make money. So you can support that and say, here's how I am impacting the business. You have to toot your own horn. Men do it all the time. We don't do it enough. You have to be able to say, I did this, or my team and I did this, if that makes you more comfortable. Shirley Chisholm, the former senator that at one point was trying to be the first woman and the first African-American woman president many years ago, said, if there's no seat at the table, bring your own chair. I'm telling women, bring your own table. Put yourself number one on your things to do list. Eat, pray, love, exercise, work out. If you're in a Zoom meeting, I'm going to go back to that for just 1 second. Make sure you dress okay up and put makeup on or whatever you need to do that makes you you. You don't have to wear makeup. That's not a requirement. It just sometimes makes some people feel better or different. But make sure you're dressed and that people can see you and that you look in the camera and you're the same size as other people. You don't want to be like this. And you don't want to be a blank screen on the camera. Put yourself number one on your things to do list. Take time for yourself. Literally, schedule 15 to 30 minutes on your calendar for lunch. Get up, walk away from your computer, actually consume a meal, even if you only take 5 or 10 minutes, but walk out of your space where you normally work because your energy will come back. Between every couple of Zoom meetings, take 5 to 10 minutes. Walk away from your office, your computer, your workspace. Walk outside. I do it even when it was snowing and ice storms here. Roll your shoulders a little bit. Move your arms, move your feet, your shoulders. Breathe 10 deep breaths, and your creativity and energy will be back. And then pay it forward because we need to leave the world a better place. So I am going to try and play this video. It's 5 minutes, but it really focuses on your purpose and your intent. So we're going to give this a try.
All of you leaving here have the potential for enormous success. There's a price that comes with that. First and foremost, knowing who you are. Knowing who you are. Being able to answer this question, who am I and what do I want? I'm asking the bigger question of who am I? Who am I really? And what do I want? I don't want to just be successful in the world. I don't want to just make a mark or have a legacy. The answer to that question for me is I want to fulfill the highest, truest expression of myself as a human being. You must have some kind of vision for your life. Even if you don't know the plan, you have to have a direction in which you choose to go. You want to be in the driver's seat of your own life, because if you're not, life will drive you. Knowing who you really are in this space and time that we embody. You must find a way to serve. Martin Luther King said that not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great because greatness is determined by service. Now, we live in a world where everybody wants to be famous and where we admire people for just being famous. We think being known brings us value. The truth is, all of that will fade in time. In 3 years, you won't be able to name the housewives of Atlanta. The real truth is that service and significance, service and the significance that you bring to your service is that which is lasting. When you shift the paradigm of whatever it is you choose to do to service and you bring significance to that, success will, I promise you, follow you. Service and significance equals success. Here's the key: learn from every mistake, because every experience, encounter, and particularly your mistakes are there to teach you and force you into being more of who you are. And then figure out what is the next right move. What is your true calling? What is your dharma? What is your purpose? All of you leaving here have the potential for enormous success. There's a price that comes with that. People don't always like you, and they're not always happy for you. And if you surround yourself with people who are not accustomed to your success, they become fearful, they become scared, because you are reflecting back something to them that they don't recognize. People who want the best for you want you to be your best. So my greatest advice to you is to surround yourself with people who are going to fill your cup until your cup runneth over. And what I know for sure is that the biggest choices begin and end with you, your internal big questions. Who do I want to be in the world? Be excellent. People notice. Let excellence be your brand. Everybody talks about building a brand. I never even knew what that was. When people say, you're a brand, I would say, no, I'm just Oprah. What I recognize now is that my choice to, in every way, in every example, in every experience, to do the right thing and the excellent thing is what has created the brand.
So what are some of the messages? I'm sorry. In the chat box, please write down some of the things that you were hearing in that video. Who am I really? What do I want? What is the legacy I want to leave on the world? What is my vision, which we're going to do today? What is my direction, and how do I surround myself with people that lift me up and eliminate or minimize people around me who are always trying to tear me down? Really think about these things. If you're not in the driver's seat, life will drive you. I love the reference to the Housewives of Atlanta. So at one point in my career, I lived in Singapore. And when I came back to the US in 2008, the Kardashians were everywhere. Now, they were nothing in Singapore. There was no Kardashian show. There was no big thing about the Kardashian things going on. You know, I come back into a re-immersion into the US, and we had limited television in the US. We had things like Friends and Frasier and a few other things, but most things we didn't get a lot of American TV. But we came back and I'm like, who are the Kardashians and why do I care? Why do I care what these people do? I know it's entertainment and I know some people love it, so I'm not going to criticize people for it. But I had no idea who those people were. Do you know the names of the Housewives of Atlanta, Dallas, New York, New Jersey, whatever all those things are? No, it doesn't matter. What does living with intention mean to you? What did you hear in this video? Okay, great. It's about having a purpose. It's about having a direction. It's about having a compass I can use to guide my life and my career. So it means a number of different things. So, oh, I'm going the wrong way. So living with intention is living by having a plan instead of just making stuff up, letting things happen to you. It's about staying on your path and not being sidetracked by life's distractions. It's about having that direction to go. It's about living your life as a series of choices that you make on purpose. The power of the vision statement that pulled me off that bathroom floor and got me back stronger than ever, writing the book, speaking, doing what I do, and having my direction to empower women and girls, gave me that purpose, that direction. The kind of clients I work with need to fit within that. Is it gives me a chance to make a difference in a company if I go in and do women's leadership workshops or team building or leadership workshops? Will the company create an environment once their training is over where people can succeed? When you have intention and purpose, you activate a chemistry in your brain that creates all these positive things. It creates happy brain that boosts your serotonin, it boosts your endorphins, and it gives you that strong sense of feeling. When you are in your strength zone and you're working in your passion, you are energized to do what you do. So there's 5 areas to live with intention. One is living with physical intention. Now that's doing things that make you feel good, eating well, all those things they tell you to do, eat well, get plenty of sleep, all these things they tell you to do that I wonder how somebody actually does that. But it's even the little things, like I said, taking a break between video meetings or getting up away from your workspace, whatever that may be, to take 5 minutes to just breathe and get some energy. It's also your mental and physical intention, being able to have the emotional agility. She said in the video, learn from every mistake. One of the women I interviewed for my book was Colonel Deb Lewis, who's now a retired colonel living in Hawaii, and a very good friend of mine. I actually talked to her last Saturday when I was at the dog park, and she's in Hawaii. She happened to call me, and I was like, why is Deb Lewis from Hawaii calling me on a Saturday? And so we just called to connect because we love each other and support each other all the time. But she taught me something called an after action review that she learned in the military. She was one of the first women in the first class of women to graduate from West Point. So she didn't have a glass ceiling. She had a concrete bunker. And they did things to the women they wouldn't do to the men, like wouldn't tell them exactly how to do things. They had women figured out, but she graduated and she had a 30-year career in the military. So here's how an after action review helps you. It'll help you build resiliency. It'll build emotional agility, and it will build your grit, your ability to go through life's ups and downs and be able to recover from those faster and faster every time. So an after action review goes like this. When something happens, say it didn't go well, say you did something at work, you did something, a presentation, whatever happens to be, you did something that didn't go well, ask yourself what happened, why did it happen, what did I learn from it? And what would I do differently next time to get a different result? Now, sometimes things are really bad and you need to have that cry moment or that I'm so upset moment or they did this to me. But at some point, pick yourself up, put on your big girl panties and say, what happened? Why did it happen? What did I learn? And what could I do differently next time? Do the same thing when something great happens. You had a great day at work. You just absolutely rocked it. And people came out and said, man, Sally, that was great. One, learn to say thank you and not say I could have done better, which is what most women say. But also ask yourself what happened? Why did it happen? What did I learn from it? And what would I do again to create a better or similar result? There's self-intention. There's intention towards others, like being able to serve others, as you talked about in the video. And there's spiritual intention. But we're going to focus on you, on your passion, your vision, your calling, your career, and your life around these 5 circles of attention. And we're going to do that because what you need to know is there's 4 ways to live an impactful life and live your life with intention. She said it over and over again. Know your why. What are your interests and things that bring you joy? Many people know the Japanese organizer lady. I can't remember her name. She's always saying, does this bring you joy? If not, get it out of your life. Set realistic and establish long and short-term goals. Remove barriers, including things and people that don't share your dreams. and take care of yourself, to put yourself number one on your things to do list. So, what drives you to do what you do? I want you to put some thoughts in the chat box. What is the destiny you want to leave in the world? And I want you to follow your passion and think about that as we're going and talking about a practical, very important way for you to know your purpose, your why, your destiny, to drive your life, to surround yourself with people that help you. And that's create a personal vision statement. I am on a personal quest for every person I touch, every presentation I do, for people to create their own personal vision statement. She said it in the video, I didn't know I was a brand. You are a brand. So a vision statement is about who you want to be, how you want to be known when you leave the room, or you leave that group, or maybe you move to a new job, or you volunteer at a different group. It's a future state for your life. It's that destination, that roadmap that guides your why. It's a signpost to keep you on course, because we all get off course from time to time, and some of us more than others. But how do you get back on course? You get back to your personal vision. It's a guide to align your actions, to ask yourself occasionally, am I living my vision? Am I living up to my destiny? And it's a compass to keep you on track. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson. And if you email me, my contact information is at the end. I'll send you a personal vision guide, roadmap on how to create a personal vision, but we're going to do a little bit of it here. So vision started hundreds and hundreds of years ago when a couple of scientists from the Nordic part of the world were really trying to find out why were some countries that came from nothing, Egypt, Rome, Greece, the UK, the United States, these small nations or countries that came from nothing and became world power. They didn't have the resources. They didn't have the manpower, person power they needed. They didn't have what other countries had, and yet they dominated the world for a period of time, sometimes 50, sometimes hundreds of years. What they had was a vision. There's a fantastic book. It may sound slightly depressing, but it's an amazing book by Dr. Viktor Frankl that many people have read called Man's Search for Meaning. He was a doctor during World War II. And because he was Jewish, he was put into a concentration camp. And his vision was to find a way of what helped people, how to educate the world and never let this happen again. That was his one goal. The second goal was figure out why some people survived the atrocities of the concentration camps to survive and live on, and many still live today. And what he found is they all had something better in their life. They had a fundamental state that was better where they were, which was horrific. And they had some sort of a vision of something they wanted to do when they got out. One gentleman he talked to said he wanted to walk his granddaughter down the aisle on her wedding. For Dr. Viktor Frankl, he wanted to be able to be standing in front. His vision was he's standing in front of thousands of people in a beautiful hall, telling people what happened to prevent this kind of atrocity from ever happening again. John Kennedy, before John Kennedy came along and said, let's put a man on the moon by the end of the decade in the 60s, NASA was the most dysfunctional organization you could possibly find. Nobody worked together. There was lots of infighting. There was politics. Nothing went well. And when he said, my vision is to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade, they all came together around a common vision. That's why your company needs a vision. And what's interesting is they actually put a man on the moon July of 1969, 6 months ahead of the end of that decade. Jean-Claude Killy made it very famous during sports. He was a French Olympic skier. And before he got ready for a race, he's sitting at the top of the mountain. He's got his eyes closed, and you could see him moving his body from side to side like he's going through the gates to get to the end. And at the end, he raised his hands as he won the gold medal. That was his vision. The only way he realized it was real when he actually won the gold medal, because he wasn't favored, was when he raised his arms at the end of the race. He heard the noise of the crowd cheering him on. There's business people like Steve Jobs changed the way the world worked. Bill Gates had his vision. And then one of my favorites is the famous Mary Kay of the pink Cadillac lady. She had two visions, basically. One was to create a way for women to have their own economic independence, to own their own business and be able to support themselves and their families. The second one was to make every woman feel beautiful. So now I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to ask you, we'll start today with just a few words, and then your homework assignment is to go do this, to go live this and make this work for you. So I want you to imagine you're on your favorite show, you're on your favorite podcast being interviewed. In my original days, when I recreated my vision, to get off that bathroom floor, Oprah was my model. I was on the Oprah show. It might have been Ellen, maybe it's Kelly Clarkson or Jennifer Hudson or somebody today, but you're on your favorite show or podcast. And you're surrounded by your friends and family, your bosses, your peers, your community leaders, your family, everybody that knows you. And they're going to help you write this story. So what do you want the story to say? So if you close your eyes for a minute, I want you to imagine you're in that situation. You're sitting on that couch on the Kelly, Jennifer, whoever show, and you hear these words people saying. She is strong. She is confident. She is respected. She is talented. She is compassionate. She is courageous. Every word you hear, every word and adjective, I want you to write those in the chat box, and I want them to be on a piece of paper in front of you, because we're going to put those together and make those a vision statement. I see respected, credible, talented, compassionate, passionate, developer of people, makes a difference. Now, what I want you to do is keep those words. Now, over the course of the next 30 days, visit those words maybe every couple of days or at least once a week, and add words, refine your vision statement, and come down to about 12 to 16 words. And that's going to become your vision statement. Your vision statement might look something like mine, which is Patty is a respected, compassionate, talented woman leader who makes a difference by empowering people to be the best they can be. That is my vision statement. Whatever those words are, take a few out of the chat box that you like. Create your vision statement and then spend the next 30 days fine-tuning that. Once you do that, I want you to write it down. I want you to put it in your makeup bag. I want you to put it on your bathroom mirror. I want you to put it on your computer. I want you to put it in your purse or anything that you have around you. I want you to put it places where it's visible, because vision without action is just a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. And you wake up one day 30 years later and say, how did I get here? Vision with action can change the world, and so can you, because so am I. And then put it to action. Live your life to your fullest potentials, follow your dreams, and don't let anything stop you. Apply it to your life regularly. Ask yourself occasionally, am I living it? What's getting in my way, and what could I be doing better? Use it to make career and life decisions. Here's exactly how I used it at one point in my career at Microsoft. We sent our son off to college. He was going to be going to college. We were living in Washington at the time. He was going to be going to California to play college football. And I talked with my husband. I'd been at Microsoft maybe about 10 years. And I said, you know what? I think it's really kind of a shame to work for an international company and never live overseas. What do you think if we took an assignment in someplace in Europe or someplace in Asia? He said, sounds cool. So I went through the process. I went to my boss and said, here's what I want to do. 100% supportive. I ended up having 2 job offers, almost exactly. Actually, they were the same time. It was August of 2004. Exactly the same time. Got the job offers. Both jobs were equal pay. Both jobs were equal senior level, were the equal title level, so you had the right title. Both jobs were working for great bosses. Both jobs were great teams, and both jobs sounded exciting. Here was the deciding factor. One job was in our EMEA or European division, running the business excellence team, living in Germany, uh, for Central Eastern Europe, which is where my family's originally from. So that would have been a really cool job. Cool job. Everything about it was cool. Asia, we'd be living in Singapore, and same thing. Cool job, cool boss, fun assignment. Wow, we could do this for 2 or 3 years. Won't this be fun? And the deciding factor was one thing: where could I make the biggest difference? You see, EMEA had 1,000, almost 1,200 people on the headquarters staff or the regional staff to serve about 20 something countries, very diverse, obviously, from the UK to France and Germany to tiny, tiny countries in Central and Eastern Europe I'd be working with. 1,000 to 1,200 people. I don't know, remember the exact number, but it had a large number of people trying to make a difference in all these countries. Asia had 160 people serving 26 countries, as diverse as Korea, Japan, Australia, India, and as small as Sri Lanka, Cebu, Philippines, and several other places. Where could I have the biggest difference? I could be a little fish in a really big pond in Germany, and I could be a big fish in a little bitty pond in a little teeny country called Singapore. I chose Singapore. To tell you how supportive my husband was, he never went to Singapore until after I accepted the job and we were going there for the first house hunting trip. So that's the kind of support and surround yourself. Use it to adjust yourself, get back on track when needed. From time to time, we all fall off, and I need to use that to get me back on track. A couple of final thoughts and some things for you to do. Play to your strengths. Stand up with your vision and live your life with intention. Stand out by being visible, valuable, and vocal. Put yourself number one on your things to do list. I usually say this several times. I haven't said it yet. Self-care is not selfish. It is survival. You can't pour from an empty teacup. You can't help someone else, including your family, your children, your team, anybody, if you can't help yourself. You have to fill up your cup. Pay it forward and leave the world a better place. So this is your action plan. What is one thing you're going to do to live with more intention and be an unstoppable woman, leader, or leader? I look forward to the day we no longer have to say she is a great woman leader. She is a great African-American leader. She is a great Asian doctor, and just say she is a great leader. She is a great woman. She is a great whatever happens to be. So she remembered the game, who she was, and the game changed. I want you to remember who you are and what you stand for. So put your one thing in the chat box and we'll keep going. And now just go do it. And we always hear this question: if you could sit on a bench with your younger self, what word of advice would you give? My word of advice would be: live with intention, know your purpose, and stay true to yourself. Be your best self, because dear self, stay strong. The best is yet to come. Love me. With that, please feel free to contact me in any means you choose. I offer workshops, seminars, webinars, conference speaking. I do all kinds of keynotes. I just, as mentioned, did the keynote for the Cisco Women of Impact session. And there's the link to my book on Amazon if you'd like to buy it. Send me an email if you want to get that personal vision guide. I'm happy to send that out to you. Here's my social information. I'll also send you a PDF of the deck and give the PDF of the deck to Charlie so she can make it available to everybody. Thanks, everybody. Let's go kick some glass and make the world a better place. I encourage all of you to do your best, be your best self, and always remember, never let anyone take that away from you. Thank you.